Do you also feel she was unfairly judged by Bollywood and the media at that time? Because Rekha ji often faced harsh media scrutiny and industry judgments during her peak years. And do you feel that Rekha ji's journey would have unfolded a bit differently in today's more progressive era?
Yeah, I think you should judge everyone. Everyone is the product of their own times. You cannot judge an event that happened in 1960s, 70s, or the 80s um, with in present times. Every time, every era is different. So what was happening here is that the, a young actress talking about her association with other actors, and not just the superstar, reigning superstar of those times, but also other actors. It was like a total no-no. No one talked like that. It was always hush hush, but Rekha was different, and now I would say she was being honest, and she talked about all these things, and she was completely malign. She was called out terms which were like quite derogatory. We like I have noted them in the book. Uh, but I think in these times, if we talk about 2025, she would have been judged slightly better, I think. But then there was no social media also, so there was no trolling by normal people. They were, of course, trolling, but that was a just a part and parcel of being an actress in 1970s and 80s. I think she used it to her benefit, and we have to give it to her also that even the negative publicity, because there was this publicity about the cover of a film magazine about it was a magazine called Asia, or I don't remember the magazine's name, but she was on the cover kissing Vishwajit, and and this was uh, related to a film scene where she was abused. There was an entire kissing controversy, but she realized a year later that she can use it to her advantage, and she did the photo shoot again. You know, uh, Shooting the same scene again for the camera of the magazine. So there are many such examples where she used her tragedies and her trolling to her advantage, and this was not normal. I think she was the only one who used the negative publicity to her advantage, and that was a part of her personality, and I think that's what keeps uh, her relevant even now. If she goes to Kapil Sharma shows or any other reality show, she will just drop hints about Silsila, or she'll just drop hints about her association with the superstar. Uh, and she keeps on doing that, like without a fail. She keeps on doing that again and again. She always uses sindoor uh, in her hair, and whenever you ask her, like nobody asks her now, but there was a time when the media used to ask her, and she would say from the place where I come from, like it's considered fashion. It's not a symbol of being married. So she went to Rishi Kapoor and Neetu Singh's marriage back in the 80s, wearing sindoor for the first time, and everyone went berserk, and no one was talking about their wedding, which was a big event in the film industry. Everyone was talking about Rekha's sindoor. So she has used such gimmicks to her advantage, and which was completely not the norm back then. So she was quite uh, forward looking, and she was quite bold in her choices even then, and no, she wasn't dealt with softly, and it was she was all the media was always after her, and it wasn't uh, she wasn't praised for doing all such gimmicks, or saying giving bold statement, yet she persisted, and I think it kind of changed in the early 80s after her brilliant performances in Khubsurat, Ijazat, Umrao Jan, those films. I think that gaze changed a lot, and people started, and even the media started to respect her after she proved herself as a brilliant actress.
Exploring a star's real journey often reveals hidden facets beyond the glamour. So, did any aspect of Rekha ji's journey or personality surprise you while researching or writing?
I think the way she stopped talking to the media, the complete transformation in terms of her image. Uh, like the first few years of her career, she was really not interested in acting, and she like a lot of producers came on record to complain about Rekha that she's missing the shoots and it harms us, it harms the film, and if it's not completed on time, and she was missing, running away from shoots. But in 1976, she was working with Amitabh Bachchan for the first time for this film called Do Anjane, directed by Dulal Guha, and then she came and she always talks about it. She even talked about this phase of her life in Simi Garewal's famous TV show. And she said that something in me snapped in. And that was the beginning of my transformation because here this man was, and she's talking about Amitabh Bachchan, that who used to come on the sets at 6 a.m. Early morning for sure. And here I was completely missing. And then it struck me that you know, someone of Amitabh Bachchan's stature who had just given Sholay, Diwar, Zanjeer, that successful an actor, and he is like always there for the shoot, and he takes his work so seriously, and that was the first point. And then I think over the years, her transformation was multidimensional as an actor, a star, a looker in films like Silsila, Khubsurat, Ijazat, Umrao Jan. Uh, but uh, but also talking to the film media openly about everything, even about Amitabh Bachchan, her association with him, uh, her relationship with her parents, her father. Those were the things she openly talked about. But I think while researching, what struck me the most was the tragedy that happened in 1990 when her husband, Mukesh Agrawal, he was from Delhi, a businessman from Delhi, he committed suicide. And I think that is the point. Rekha was blamed in the entire Indian media of blaming for Mukesh's death, and it was like the trolling of this era. She faced this was not a word even then, but everyone was after her. The entire media, film industry boycotted her. A lot of co-stars uh, came on record to say that we'll never work with Rekha. The truth was that they were not even together when this happened. They had separated before that, and at the time of his death, Rekha was not even in India. So this, I think, completely broke her at that time, and she talked about it later, a year later, after Mukesh's death. And post death, I think her personality completely changed, and she stopped giving interviews, and there were really few and fewer interviews. And this was a new image she was carving for herself. And this is the image that we now know of Rekha, the reclusive actress. She wasn't really reclusive before 1990. This was a one incident that completely changed her. And that's how the story in my book progresses about her, that there is a Rekha before 1990 and there is a Rekha after post 1990, and this divides her journey in two halves, and that's how I try to describe her, that despite going through many tragedies, this was just one of them. She stayed there. She remained as one of the most sought after actresses. And look, this is what 2025. We are talking about an actress like Rekha when many of her contemporaries are not even talked about, not even remembered. And this is, I think, the power of Rekha.